Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Once again, we back with Sabu to God. But before we get off into this, man, it's really, really hot out there. And I spent a lot of contemplation on deciding how we was gonna do this. And the spirit kept making, my spirit want me to go do it out there. So before we go in, y'all give me a minute to get prepared, and we gonna proceed. Yeah, like I was saying, man, it's hot out here, but we're gonna get this done. We got the air form, but I'm gonna get better suited. I'm gonna get more better suited to the sun because it's bright up there. Big red ain't playing. Got some interesting to touch base on today though. And it's hot. But we're gonna do this because this way they want me to do it at. So I ain't gonna battle with it. But once again, peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. Peace and blessings, love and light, wholeness and health. To one and all. What's been on my mind is emotions and how we deal with emotions. So, and then our intentions when we're using our emotions. So that's basically what I'm gonna touch on. Once again, my style is no style, so there ain't no telling how this gonna go, but it's gonna be some insight for somebody. Happy Eclipse Day. Happy for the solar eclipse. Happy Father's Day. First of all, to the mothers. Happy Father's Day to the mothers, because women is the truest fathers I know. Then secondly, happy Father's Day, to the daddies, the sperm donors, and those who have been fathers. And happy Father's Day to those males that was a father to somebody else's child. Happy Father's Day to you, because y'all deserving as well. But that I was saying, we're gonna touch on emotions today. And I looked up a few things in my phone, as always, cross-reference and check and, try to validate, does the information feel right, because our feelings is a big indicator of what's going on in our world. So information had to feel right. So and I compiled a few things for us from different sources, and we'll see how it goes. But it said in the scientific community, the conservative definition of emotion is a facial expression via happiness, sadness, disgust, anger, or surprise. These and other basic emotions can be seen easily on the face. I said, okay, well, what about the ones that aren't? What's the indicator for them? But that's why we're talking about emotions. Because most people have the concept that emotions and feelings are the same thing, or are they? And some people have the concept that feelings and emotions are two different things, but are they? Where is the fine line? We're going to investigate to try to find out. Another source said emotion, a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with others. I said, okay. It also said instinctive or intuition feeling as distinguished from reasoning or knowledge. An emotion is a feeling such as happiness, love, fear, anger, or hatred, which can be caused by the situation that you are in or the people you are with. Emotion is the part of a person's character that consists of their feeling as opposed to their thoughts. I said, Emotion is the part of a person's character that consists of their feelings as opposed to their thoughts. So when I analyze that, I say, what that says to me is, my thoughts won't betray me, but what I'm feeling will. I can hide my thoughts, but I can't hide what I'm feeling. Emotions characterize our feeling or gives our feelings character acted out. So what that said to me was, you could tell where a person is doing something from based on how it feels according to what they're doing and how they're doing it. Emotions characterize our feeling or give our feelings character acted out, reinforced through our personality. Emotions are created by our brain. It is the way our brain gives meaning to the bodily sensation based on past experience. I can identify with that because for many years I was a person that carried my past into every year following whatever it is occurred from the time it occurred. And it took me through a cycle of the same shit. Basically, the unwanted things. What is it about us that allow us to repeat a cycle of doing the same things expecting different results? And to find the root of that will change your whole life. A fundamental difference between feelings and emotion is that feelings are experienced consciously, while emotions manifest either consciously or subconsciously. Well, even if it manifests subconsciously, because I refuse to believe that me or any other person has no idea what they're doing or what they're feeling behind what they're doing. I refuse to believe that. So even things subconscious rise to the conscious, which is why we're going to go into intentions. What is our intentions behind the emotions that we feel? It says, you are the product of the karma of your soul. The dispositions, aptitudes, and attitudes that you were born with serves the learning of your soul. As your soul learns the lessons that it must learn to balance its energy, those characteristics become unnecessary and are replaced by others. For example, that anger leads nowhere. Your anger begins to disappear and you move into a more integrated and mature orientation toward your experiences. What once angered you now brings forth different responses. We talk about maturity. We talk about emotional maturity, which brings forth growth. Until you become aware of the effects of your anger, you continue to be an angry person. What triggers you? What triggers me? I have to find that out. If you do not reach this awareness by the time you return home, wholeness, your soul will continue this lesson through the experiences of another lifetime. It will incarnate another personality with aspects that are similar to your own. What is not learned in each lifetime is carried over into other lifetimes, along with new lessons that arise for the soul to learn, new karmic obligations that result from the responses of its personality to the situations that it encounters. We are not the things that we encounter. We are not what happens to us. The lessons that the soul has learned also are brought forth into other lifetimes. This is how the soul evolves. Personalities mature in time, and the soul evolves in eternity. Your dispositions, aptitudes, and attitudes reflect your intentions. If you are angry, fearful, resentful, or vengeful, your intention is to keep people at a distance. The human emotional spectrum can be broken down in two basic elements, love and fear. Where love is, fear cannot abide. And where fear abides, love cannot exist. Anger, resentment, and vengeance are expressions of fear, as are guilt, regret, embarrassment, shame, and sorrow. These are lower frequency currents of energy. They drain you. They produce feelings of depletion, weakness, inability to cope, and exhaustion. The highest frequency current, the highest energy current is love. It produces buoyancy, radiance, lightness, and joy. And the ability for me to sit out here in this sun and present this lesson. Your intentions create the reality that you experience. Until you become aware of this, it happens unconsciously. Therefore, be mindful of what you project. That is the first step towards authentic power. You may seek companionship and warmth, for example, but if your unconscious intention is to keep people at a distance, the experience of separation and pain will surface again and again until you come to understand that you, yourself, are creating them. Eventually, you will choose to create harmony and love. You will choose to draw to you the highest frequency currents that each situation has to offer. Eventually, you will come to understand that love heals everything and love is all there is. I ain't always understand this, but I live in it now. This journey may take many lifetimes, but you will complete it. It is impossible not to complete it. It is not a question of it, but of when. You decide your time. Every situation that you create serves this purpose. Every experience that you encounter serves this purpose. The healing journey of the human is to go through its incarnations into the physical arena as a process of cycles of creation. Karma, personality, intention, energy, experiences, reaction, karma, etc. The karma of the soul determines the characteristics of the personality. It determines the physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual circumstances into which the personality is born. It determines the ways that the personality is prone to understand its experiences. It determines the intentions with which the personality will shape its reality. These intentions create the reality that provides the soul. Y'all pardon the airplane. Give me a minute. These intentions create the reality that provides the soul at each moment with the experiences that are necessary for the balancing of its energy, and the personality with the clearest choice, because we have a choice between learning through wisdom or learning through doubt and fear. Through these intentions, the personality shapes the light that is flowing through it into the reality that is optimal for its growth, for the evolution of its soul. So we got to start making choices based on what's beneficial for the highest good of our growth, for the highest purpose of our soul's growth, for the highest purpose of our spiritual growth, not materiality, not to get applause from the people, but to get applause from yourself, self-satisfaction, self-contentment, emotional fulfillment. The reactions of the personality to the experiences that it has created creates more karma. Reactions express intentions. They determine the experiences that will be created next, and the reaction of the personality to those experiences create more karma, and so forth, until the soul releases the personality and body. What has been accumulated in that lifetime is assessed with the loving assistance of its teachers and guides. The new lessons that have emerged to be learned, the new karmic obligations that must be paid are seen. The experiences of the incarnation just completed are revealed in the fullness of understanding. Its mysteries are mysteries no more. Their causes, their reasons, and their contributions to the evolution of the soul, and to the evolution of souls with whom the soul shared its life, and are revealed. What has been balanced, we've seen this in the movie Ghost. With Patrick Swayze. He played a character named Sam. What has been balanced, what has been learned, brings the soul over, or ever closer to its healing, to its integration and wholeness. If the soul sees that it is necessary, it will choose also, with the help of its teachers and guides, another incarnation. It will draw to itself the guides and teachers that are appropriate to what it seeks to accomplish. It will consult with other souls whose evolution, like its own, will be mutually served by interactions within the physical arena. Man, I'm gonna put it on pause because I need to grab me something to keep me dry while I do this in this heat. So y'all give me a second. All right, I'm back. I had to power up, man. I'm gonna back it up. If the soul sees that it is necessary, it will choose also, with the help of its teachers and guides, another incarnation. It will draw to itself the guides and teachers that are appropriate to what it seeks to accomplish. So that's where we get the term, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I've appeared to many students and shared of my teachings, just like as a student I appeared to many masters, so I can absorb theirs. It will consult with other souls whose evolution, like its own, will be mutually served by intentions within the physical arena. Then it will undertake again the massive voluntary reductions of its energy, the infusion of its energy into matter, flesh, the calibration of its energy to an appropriate scale and range of frequencies that is an incarnation into the learning environment of the Earth School. And the process begins again. The world as we know it has been built without a consciousness of soul. It has been built with the consciousness of the personality. Everything within our world reflects personality energy. We believe that what we can see and smell and touch and feel and taste is all there is to the world. We believe that we are not responsible for the consequences of our actions. We act as though we are not affected when we take and take and take and take. We strive for external power, and in that striving create a destructive competition. You can't compete with a creator. You cannot compete with a creator. Only a human would try to compete with God. The introduction of consciousness into the cyclic process of creation through which the soul evolves permits the creation of a world that is built upon the consciousness of the soul. A world that reflects the values and perceptions and experiences of the soul. It allows you to bring the energy of your soul consciously into the physical environment. It allows the consciousness of the sacred to fuse with physical matter. The world in which we live has been created unconsciously by unconscious intentions. Why do we always create the very things that we do not want? Every intention sets energy into motion, whether you are conscious of it or not. You create in each moment. Each word that you speak carries consciousness. More than that, carries intelligence. And therefore is an intention that shapes light. What kind of light are you projecting? By the words that you speak. When you speak of a marriage, for example, you invoke a particular consciousness. For example, when two people marry, they become husband and wife. Husband means the master of a house, the head of a household, a manager. Wife means a woman who is joined to a man in marriage, a hostess of a household. Sometimes it means a woman of humble rank. The relationship between a husband and a wife is not equal. When two people marry and think and speak of themselves as husband and wife, they enter into these consciousnesses. Well, let me back up. When two people marry and think and speak of themselves as husband and wife, they enter into these consciousnesses and intelligences. In other words, the archetypal structure of marriage can be thought of as a planet. When two souls marry, they fall into the orbit or gravitational field of this planet, and therefore, despite their own individual intentions, they take on the characteristic of this planet called marriage. They become part of the evolution of the structure itself through their own participation in a marriage. An archetype is a collective human idea. The archetype of marriage was designed to assist physical survival. When two people marry, they participate in an energy dynamic in which they merge their lives in order to help each other survive physically. The archetype of marriage is no longer functional. It is being replaced with a new archetype that is designed to assist spiritual growth. This is the archetype of spiritual or sacred partnership. The underlying premise of a spiritual partnership is a sacred commitment between the partners to assist each other's spiritual growth. The underlying premise of a spiritual partnership is a sacred commitment between the partners to assist each other's spiritual growth. Spiritual partners recognize their equality. I repeated that because sometimes we need to know what we draw people in our life for, and why we attracted people, and what we attracted people in our and what we attracted people in our lives to accomplish. And in the deeper analysis of what it is to be drawn to a person or attract a person to us, we're coming to the why. Spiritual partners are able to distinguish personality from soul, and therefore they are able to discuss the dynamics between them. Their interactions on a less emotional bound ground than husband and wife. That ground does not exist within the consciousness of marriage. It exists only with the consciousness of spiritual partnership, because spiritual partners are able to see clearly that there is indeed a deeper reason why they are together. I'm going to repeat that. That spiritual partners are able to distinguish personality from soul, and therefore they are able to discuss the dynamics between them, their interactions on a less emotionally bound ground than husband and wife. That ground does not exist within the consciousness of marriage. It exists only within the consciousness of spiritual partnership, because spiritual partners are able to see clearly that there is indeed a deeper reason why they are together. And that reason has a great deal to do with the evolution of their souls. Not building a house, not having children, even though children may come, not staying updated in the newest car. All those things are fine, but most relationships, that wasn't even the purpose of them. Because spiritual or sacred partners can see from this perspective, they engage in a very different dynamic than do husbands and wives. The conscious evolution of the soul is not part of the structural dynamics of marriage. It does not exist within that evolution, because when the evolutionary archetype of marriage was created for our species, the dynamic of conscious spiritual growth was far too mature a concept to be included. Well, I didn't put that in the box. What makes a spiritual or sacred partnership is that the souls within the partnership understand that they are together in a committed relationship, but the commitment is not to the physical security. It is rather to be with each other's physical lives as they reflect spiritual consciousness. So if you hold, you don't need no half or nothing. I got a hold because I'm whole. And in that we make wholeness because we whole. Not because my partner make me complete, because I am complete. The bond between spiritual partners exists as real as it does in marriage, but for significantly different reasons. Spiritual partners are not together in order to quell each other's financial fears, or because they can't, or because they can produce a house in the suburbs and that entire conceptual framework. The understanding of consciousness that spiritual partners bring to their commitment is different, and therefore their commitment is dynamically different. The commitment of spiritual partners is to each other's spiritual growth, recognizing that that is what each of them is doing on earth, and that everything serves that. Spiritual partners bond with the understanding that they are together because it is appropriate for their souls to grow together. They recognize that their growth may take them to the end of their days in this incarnation and beyond, or it may take them 6 months. The art of attachment is no attachment. They cannot say that they will be together forever. The duration of their partnership is determined by how long it is appropriate for their evolution to be together. All of the vows that a human being can take cannot prevent the spiritual path from exploding through and breaking those vows if the spirit must move on. It is appropriate for spiritual partners to remain together only as long as they can grow together. So when you stop growing together, you can't go no further together. Spiritual partnership is a much freer and more spiritually accurate dynamic than marriage, because spiritual partners come together from a position of spirit and consciousness. How spiritual partners merge and move their concept of partnership is a matter of free will, so long as they recognize that they bring the consequences of their choices, equilibrium, into their partnership and know the full extent of their choices. That is what influences the manner and direction that the partnership goes. Spiritual partners commit to a growing dynamic. Their commitment is truly a promise toward their own growth, to their own spiritual survival and enhancement, not to their physical. The archetype of spiritual partnership is new to the human experience because there is not yet a social convention for spiritual partnership. Spiritual partners may decide that the convention of marriage, reinterpreted to meet their needs, is the most appropriate physical expression of their bond. These souls infuse the archetype of marriage with the energy of an archetype of spiritual partnership, as do marriage partners who have discovered in their togetherness that their bond is actually one of commitment to mutual spiritual growth rather than to physical survival or security or comfort. Just as external powers is no longer appropriate to our evolution, the archetype of marriage is no longer appropriate. This does not mean that the institution of marriage will disappear overnight. Marriages will continue to exist, but marriages that succeed will only succeed with the consciousness of spiritual partnership. The partners in these marriages contribute through their participation in them to the archetype of spiritual partnership. When you bring the consciousness of your soul to your intention setting process, when you choose to align yourself with your soul instead of with your personality, you create a reality that reflects your soul rather than your personality. When you look upon the experiences of your life as karmic necessities, when you react to your experiences as the products of an impersonal energy dynamic rather than the products of particular interactions, you bring the wisdom of your soul into your reality. When you choose to respond to life's difficulties with compassion and love instead of fear and doubt, you create a heaven on earth. You bring the aspects of a more balanced and harmonious level of reality into physical being, therefore into your life and in the lives of others. And with that, peace and blessings, wholeness and health, love and light. And may you be kind to yourself today. This is Sawu the God. One.